and welcome to the Real Biz Life Chronicles podcast, where we discuss all things business, branding, and life. My guest today is one of the calmest people I have ever met, Rupen Kotecha. Rupen is a strategic and commercially minded business professional. Having been the CFO on the board of British Airways, he decided to unleash his entrepreneurial side and start numerous businesses upon landing in Australia. He founded, built, and sold the CFO Centre and now is focused on helping other business owners and leaders reach their peak through the WA Leaders platform. Rupen, welcome.
Thank you, Tracy. Great to be here.
Great to have you here. Thank you so much for making time to be on the show with us.
Looking forward to our chat.
Yes, me too. Rupen, let's jump in. Most curious, at what age did you know you had an entrepreneurial flair?
Oh, what a story this is. So at the age of 14, a really good friend of mine, I was born and brought up in Kenya, in Africa. And a really good friend of mine had an aquarium, like a fish tank at home. And I said, I want one of those. So I got permission from parents to have some money. And he goes, okay, I'll help you build it. I said, well, we don't have to go and buy it. He goes, no, I know how to build them. This is a 14-year-old.
Awesome.
So he's like the expert on it. And so we went off to the shops and got panes of glass, and he knew exactly, and I kind of made notes, and he goes, this is how you build it. We got silicone glue, built it, taped it all up, and he goes, that's it. And then we made a nice roof with some lights and filled it all up and got it going. And I thought,
awesome.
Oh, I can make these. So I started at the age of 14, started making these aquariums and selling them through local ads in the newspaper. And he was crazy. These people coming home, and my family's wondering what this guy doing. And I'd have a range of fish tanks, because one thing I realized right at the start is you got to give people choice. Just don't have one to sell. So you have a range of them. Obviously, that cash was straight into my pocket and use it to buy more material to make aquariums. And then I also had a fish tank at home, and the fish were self-breeding, so they'll breed. And my friend and I would go to the fish club in Kenya, and we'd sell the excess fish we had. So we'd make money on that. I'm thinking, this is great. So that was the start of the entrepreneurial journey. However, going through uni, all that got erased. And it was like, okay, I'm a corporate person here, and I've got to get a job. I've got a mortgage. I've got a family. I've got to support them. So that corporate job kind of derailed my entrepreneurial thinking. And it's not until I came to Australia and I realized, I've got an entrepreneurial flair. So decided not to take it and started my very first business. And I remember when I did that, it was like, I should have been doing this all these years.
Yeah.
But it needed me to change country to give me a fresh start to be able to do that.
Yes. And I'd love to back up. So how long did the fish tank business last for?
Year and a half, couple of years, and then the senior school exams kicked in and all that got put to the side. And then I went off to the UK for uni, and all that was just forgotten. I still have the skill. I'm thinking I should actually start making them now.
And great idea.
Beautiful, and sell them from home.
Very, very cool. I absolutely love hearing business owners' journeys of how they first started. I used to sell lollipops, undercut the tuck shop, and had my backpack, and off I went. It was actually also about a year and a half that I did it for, so I had a really good run. And it's just so exciting because you've got this potential to earn more money, and to you're obviously supplying goods as well, which was just a great payoff too. So love that.
Yeah, and it's amazing. A very similar journey to you and I. In school, you've been doing that, and then that doesn't leave you. It was there within you, lying dormant, until you had the opportunity, and off you went.
Yes, and Rupen, what made you kind of lose that skill set? Do you feel, or kind of made you stay in a different path? You said it was uni, was just kind of fitting the mold of society, or what made you sort of stop going down that path?
So I've had a lot of thinking about this. I think it's our education systems which cause that. And you kind of finish school, and then the next step is to go to university, and they teach you all this technical stuff, and there's no kind of human interaction stuff. There's none of that being taught. It's just you become an engineer or an accountant or whatever, graphic designer, whatever you become. what are you going to do with it? I'll go and get a job because there's a job there for you, and you just there, and then you progress up the ladder, and you buy a bigger house and a better car, and that just carries on, and you just put on this train and off you go. I think the education system kind of derailed me, like it derails a lot of people. And I think those who don't go to uni and further education, they're probably better entrepreneurs. Just look around us. The top people, they've not done any of that.
Yeah, that's so true, and I can fully relate to what you're saying, because I think I completely agree. It was so structured. You go to primary school, go to high school, go to uni. When you finish, you get a job, and you get married. There's this life cycle that you're supposed to follow. But by the sounds of it, and it was the same for myself as well, you have this calling within you that you want so much more from life than to just follow that mold that we're all supposed to follow.
Yeah, and it takes some kind of catalyst to say, oh, I could be doing something different. But then there's a fear on one side that I'm going to have to leave my job. That means the income is going to stop and the business might take a little while to pick up. And so you need the support from the people around you to do that. Because if they've got a fear, like your partner's got a fear about having regular money coming in, then that's going to work.
Yeah, those support networks are so important. Do you mind to walk us through how those support networks helped you go on that journey, Rupen?
Yeah, so when I came across to Australia and set up my very first business, the CFO Centre, what I found is that I'd never run a proper business. So being a corporate CFO doesn't quite teach you how to do that. So it came as a real shock to me because you're wearing all these hats, and you've got to be the salesperson, the marketing person, doing the books, doing the CFO activity. And it was a little bit overwhelming because I'm thinking, do I have to go and market while I'm working, or as a solo CFO? It was not easy. And there was an issue with getting the message across to get people to understand why that a small, medium business needs a CFO, because in the minds of those business owners, a CFO is generally someone who sits in a big corporate. And here I am setting up a business which is aimed at helping small, medium business owners who don't even know what the word CFO means. So it was a real tough gig trying to explain to them, because they'll say, I've got an accountant, I've got a bookkeeper. Why do I need to spend money on you? And it's the commercial strategic things they were missing, but they didn't even know they were missing them. So I was getting stuck at that point, at the conversion point, where I knew I could help them as an individual. And so at that point, I realized I need to turn to people who know more about sales strategies. And so I did, and I spoke with someone, and they said, look, there is a process. I'm happy to take you through it. So I actually paid them to help me to figure that out, as we did. And it unleashed the conversion rate. We took off like a rocket. I had to bring CFOs on board. In fact, to the point of the business national. Because
fantastic.
What I didn't know. And then I got to know how to do it. Because in terms of CFO delivery, a good CFO, the people I was bringing on my team, they were good CFOs. But if there's no work for them, what are they going to do? They're relying on the owner to bring that in. So we have to come up with a whole way of a sales process, which really worked. And it was genuine. It wasn't like, we're going to sell you something you don't need. It was a very genuine way of explaining to someone and them understanding. So that was my first foray into finding someone in my network, my business community, to help me. And that's where actually I started realizing how many other people like me are also struggling like that, and they don't know where to turn. They might go to networking events, and everyone's poking business cards in each other's faces trying to pick up work. And no one's there to help you, really. And I realized that there was also a gap in the market in terms of having a business community who were there to learn from the experts, but also support each other and have like-minded business owners understanding that they're all on a similar journey. And hence W Leaders were born out of that.
So many questions, Rupen. For our listeners that don't know what CFO means, do you mind to walk us through that, please?
Yeah. So if you think about a bigger company, they have a CEO. And if you say CEO, most people understand that's a chief executive officer.
Yeah.
CFO is a chief financial officer. So you have a whole C-suite working within a corporate, which could be a chief marketing officer. You have a whole suite of those people working in that. In a larger business, that's accepted practice. In a small and a medium business, people don't understand the C-suite because you have a managing director and who owns
Yes.
the business and they run the business and that's it. So having someone from outside who's got a skill set where a business doesn't need someone full time, that's the business we started here, providing
Yes.
CFOs on a part-time basis to those small medium businesses, which worked really well. For 14 years, I grew the business, and 5 months
Fantastic.
I decided to exit.
Yes, and you sold. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How are you feeling about that? Because I think of Design Studio Perth, and that's like my baby. Did you find it quite hard to step away?
Oh, just the whole baby. That's it. This is part of your being. It's like another child. This is
Another limb.
very, that decision to even think about selling
Oh,
when I felt the time was appropriate because there was too many other things going on in my life at that stage, and this had to happen. This exit had to happen, but it was a real emotional decision to let go.
I can
And even
imagine.
when the deal was structured and struck, and we signed off, it was like, have I done the right thing? So it felt
Wow.
like I was giving away a child. I'm thinking,
Yes.
doesn't feel right. And then up to 2 months after that, there was like regret. There was, I should be picking the phone up to someone, talking about this business and being involved. And it felt like, oh, that's not mine anymore.
Yeah.
It
Quite
really
displaced
was
almost.
a thing. But over the months, I took a long holiday with my wife and we went away to Europe, and that kind of helped just erase that and say,
Distract you.
this is not mine anymore. I've got my
Yes.
leader's business. I've got to focus on that. So not an easy decision. Um, Emotionally, it was hard.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing, Rupen, because I think as entrepreneurs and business owners, for most of us, we want to build a sellable asset and sell it. But I always think like if you get to that stage, what's the sort of roller coaster you go on afterwards? So thank you for sharing that experience with us.
You're welcome. If you asked me straight after, you'd probably get some tears for me because it was so emotional.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
invested in it. You've spent blood, sweat, and tears bringing this thing up from scratch,
of course.
not
Yeah.
knowing what the business needs to look like to where it was at, and then letting go of a whole team, your teams, your friends as well. You get to know them, and you say, "Look, I'm
Yes.
going to extract myself," and that's it. Oh, that was
Yeah.
hard. Yeah.
I can imagine it would be so difficult. And I think, like you said earlier, it almost becomes part of your identity in some way. You're so invested in it because, you sacrifice time and money and energy, and you've given up so much for this baby to grow, and then it does. But I think that's, testament to your work ethic, and the fact that you've actually done that is fantastic.
Yeah, totally. And you do think of the tough times you've had with the family when there was a time in the first 2 years when the business wasn't quite going how quickly we thought it would. Because for me, it
Yeah.
was like just drop the job in England, come over here and start a business up. It was like,
Oh,
wow, this is not an easy thing to do. And getting stuck and actually running out of cash in the first few years and the family kind of
oh.
learning how to live on nothing for a little while. That
Yes.
it wasn't
Yeah.
easy. But all of that I look at it, and the way I look at it now is that I've experienced something I can share with new business owners and say, that's okay. If you're going through that, you just need a bit of support because as long as your idea is right and the market wants what you're looking for, let's see how we can fix it.
Yeah, so it's giving you that next sort of level of support and skill set to help others. That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm
That's
so courageous as well. With my dad, when we immigrated, so we immigrated to New Zealand, back to South Africa, back to New Zealand. Anyway, dad's job got made redundant, and he just packed up his bag and came over to Perth. I didn't even think about it. There's such a courageous spirit in some of us, and such a resilience that we just, get up and go. Like, don't even hesitate, just go.
Yeah, and there's a whole concept of overthinking something. When
Yes.
you overthink something, then all the fears kind of coming up, and you think, what if that happens? What? And if you just keep that to the side, and you believe, you have a belief that something's going to work, and you go for it, whatever it is, a move to a different country or setting up a
Yeah.
business. Once you have that belief and you follow that belief and you trust it, you go ahead. If you start
Yes.
questioning that, you're in trouble, because all
Yeah.
the red flags will come up, and you'll be thinking, oh, maybe I should get a job. And
Stay in the comfort zone. Yes. Been there and then push through it.
yeah, that's it. We all do. And then the comfort zone gets bigger. And then guess what? Other stuff shows up, and you think, I would have pushed through that now. And whilst you're
It
pushing through it,
does.
you don't know you're doing it. And you get to the end and think, okay, that was good.
Completely. And WA leaders, I've been so privileged to be a part of that community, the community that you've created, and that's done that for me. And speaking of tears, I still remember the very first time I had my interview with yourself and Alex. I still blame that room in Osborne Park. It was the most bizarre feeling because I'd, attended as a guest once. Donna said, just do it. And I was like, oh, too much, but just had this inner feeling that it was the right decision. And I think there was a set of questions that you asked me, and really very thought-provoking, because I think when you're a business owner, you just go at 100 miles an hour. You don't actually really stop sometimes and think like why and what and all those sort of things. And I still remember just bursting into tears. How embarrassing with you guys, and just had this inner intuition to say, let's just do it. And it's completely changed my life. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be a part of your community.
You are totally welcome. And I remember the time when the tears started coming out, and I'm thinking, what have I done? What did I do?
How embarrassing.
However, you were being authentic, you were being yourself, and I knew that. So the reason we interview people coming through before they join leaders is we want to make sure they're the right people, because when you've created a beautiful pond, you don't want to chuck a rock in there. That creates
Of
waves.
course.
So we're very
Yes.
careful who comes in, and they all go through that process. Now it's even more rigorous. It's two
As
interviews
well. Oh,
before you.
wow. Oh, my gosh. I would have cried twice. Actually, I did cry twice. I had a session with Paul Klassen there. We had a group session, and for some reason I was crying again. So that's why I say I blame that room. But it's good for the soul, and I believe there's always great growth about to happen when something like that happens to me. So
Yeah, it must have been a turning point for you at an emotional level, for you to take your business to the next level, and you were ready for it.
yeah, thank you, Rupen. Like I said, the people I've met and just being a part of the community, it's very different compared to other networking groups. I've networked a lot, but I think the biggest thing is just that support and the people that you give us, the experts that you give us exposure to. And I also remember you saying to me, just with every session, every month, just take one or two things that you implement in your business, and I've really tried to honor that. And it's really worked wonders. And through the community and working with Paul, and just, I don't think Design Studio Perth or myself personally would have been at that same level of growth if it wasn't for that community that you created.
Yeah, and the people there are there to support you, and then that's what
Yes.
we remind people. And then, because we see it as not a networking community, it's more of a program. So it's a program with a powerful network behind it. People
Yes.
like yourselves who are involved, people who are givers, people who want to give is what I look for. If they're takers, you don't want them in a community, because all they do is come and take. So givers mindset is really important. And in some instances, there's a book which I give to people. It's called The Go Giver. Really worth a read. And
Oh,
the Go
yeah.
Giver, the mindset of that. And the more you give, without even asking for it, you're going to get it back in different ways. So
Yes.
that's really important. The other thing I look out for is whether the person will normally have a skill set for their business, whether they're a CFO or an accountant or a graphic
Hmm.
designer engineer. They'll normally have that. That's the reason they started the business. But I also look for their mindset. Is it a fixed mindset, or is it a growth mindset? If it's a
Yes.
fixed mindset, then all the knowledge we're going to share at leaders, it's just going to go over their heads. They'll just
Yes.
show, but not be there really absorbing all the things we're giving. So if they
Hmm.
don't have a growth mindset, I don't want them involved in the community. And a lot of
Yes.
people, it's hard for them to shift between the two. And I've recognized that if from my questions, if it feels like it's not going to go anywhere, it's best they stay out, because otherwise they'll
Yes.
blame and say, this is not helping me.
Of course.
Well, go and talk to the other 400 who are in the room. Yeah. So
Definitely.
it's
Sorry, you were saying?
no, that's good. Keep going.
For our listeners, would you please walk us through the WA Leaders community and how the program is structured and what's the best way to, I guess, contact you or get involved if they're interested?
Yeah, so the whole idea of leaders set up, we've been going 8 years now, is to challenge business owners, it's to inspire them, and we want to help them succeed. And for us at W Leaders, that's the biggest thing. When we see business owners, and I see your journey, Tracy, where you first came along 2.5 years ago, and the kind of person you are, the kind of business you're running, and I see you now, and I'm thinking, wow, we've been part of changing this person's thinking to get them to where they've got to. For us, it's like goosebumps. I feel them. I'm thinking, wow.
Thank you.
So that's what we exist for. In terms of the process, the way we run it, it's a series of workshops we conduct, and the workshops aren't you sit there in a room, and it's not like a university lecture where I'd get bored as a business owner if someone got me through that. This has got to be inspiring stuff. This is going to be stuff you're not going to be able to Google because it's been brought to you by experts who are giving it to you and sharing it to you in such a way that you will understand the stuff. You will be able to take it back to your business to make real changes in your business in a small way, step at a time. And by the end of the year, you'll look different. The business looks different.
Yes.
Because you've been implementing those small changes, those small steps. We've also got one-on-one mentoring, which takes place with the experts. So you might be getting stuck on specific issues and you think, what do I do? Well, the experts are there to help you. And then there's a whole community of other business owners, whether it be $100 million businesses who are part of our executive leaders program or the sub-$1 million businesses, which are part of our future leaders. They're all there to help each other. And it doesn't mean the fact that you're a bigger business, you can't learn from the small business owner, because the smaller business owner might spot something which the bigger business owner is kind of getting stuck on. The other thing which the learnings happen is cross-pollination across industries. So a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to hang around. If you're a builder, hang around just builders and I'll learn from them. Actually, you'll only learn what there is to learn from builders because that's all they know. But if you start in conversations that leaders with engineers or someone else, some other industries, they may have already resolved some of the issues which you're facing in your industry. And you think, what did they do to resolve them? And here we are with a resolution. So there's a whole kind of ethos of community energy which people get coming to leaders. And for 4.25 hours investment per month, they're raring to come back every month. And then off they go and come back the following month.
Yes.
It seems to work very well. And at the end of the first year, we move them into the alumni program, which is continual education. You're part of a great community. It's not a matter of cutting you off and saying you finish the program, off you go. You carry on the journey as an alumni and you come every month and you carry on connecting with the people you know, but there's always new people coming in every month.
And I believe as well, Rupen, you, I know I always look forward to leaders every single month. It's calendar blocked for the entire year, so I have no excuses. I mean, it's always so incredible how fast that time goes because there's so many golden nuggets you literally just glued. I also was part of the Illuminate program, which was so mind-blowing, 5 sessions. Did you want to walk us through that program as well? I believe you have a new one launching in Feb, is that correct?
Correct. So what happened with that is we had people coming through the first year of the program that we'd arm them with the knowledge, with the community. They started making changes in the business, and there was a feeling that, and I had a conversation with a few of the members saying we need something which is going to kind of turbocharge us, which is going to hold us accountable to that next level. So we created Illuminate, which is only 10 CEOs coming together over a period of 5 months, once a month, and that's where the turbocharge happens. We bring in particular experts where we feel that those business owners could benefit from them. So they're in a small group setting, so they're getting exact expertise directly from those experts to help them make those changes, but also being held accountable for those 5 months and creating a little peer community. And funny enough, when we launched the program, I kind of thought I need to be on that, and I jumped on the first program, and that community now has got its own little momentum as well. So the Illuminate program attendees are connecting outside of leaders and sharing, because we know so much about each other. We understand, where we were getting stuck, where the issues were. So it was a very open, vulnerable kind of environment. And that way we're still able to connect and help each other once a month, connecting up, even though the program's done.
I know our group has been connecting even after it finished, and it's really good because I think, like you say, you've all had that shared experience and you've all kind of supported each other over those few months. But yeah, it was really, there's that emoji on iPhone where I think the little face is like head is blown off.
Yeah.
I think that was all of us after every session. Like that was just, going off in the group chat. It was really, really incredible. And Simon Bowen and just some fantastic business-minded people that we had exposure to. So I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And Rupen, let's talk mindset versus skill set. Did you want to walk us through the differences?
Yeah, so it's one of the things, like I said, we look at with business owners who want to join leaders, and we all come with skill sets. We've learned skill sets, etc., in our professions, etc. But mindset is going to determine whether your business is going to take off like a rocket, or whether you're going to be a solo player forever. And those who have fixed mindsets, you can see the words which they come out with. You can see there's fears around that. If you kind of prod them around certain topics, they will want to stick to their views. They won't want to be opening up or even be curious to find out what else. And when you have that fixed mindset, that's going to probably run through the rest of your life as well, with your relationships, with your business, with all of that. It'd be the same kind of thing. When you have a growth mindset, you're curious. You want to find out more. You're looking for growth. That's kind of driving you. You're looking at different ways of learning from others, helping others, and that's the kind of growth mindset. And you can cultivate it. If you've already got a bit of a growth mindset, you can make it, even more by that, the word curiosity. Looking at something and saying, what can happen with that? And that creates innovative thoughts in your mind, and that creates growth. And that's where that growth mindset comes from. Really, really important to watch business people, to watch even people who are not in business, and see if they've got that or not. And when they've got that, your conversation can go much deeper with them, because they're open people.
So if they haven't got it, Rupen, would the conversation be quite sort of surface level?
Very difficult to shift them in any way. I've tried it with a lot of people who've fixed mindset, and initially I was trying to break through their brick wall. Frustrating for me, probably frustrating for them, and I realized, no, they're not the sort of people I need to do that with. It's okay to have a casual kind of a conversation with them, but it's not going to go deep. That's
deeper than that. Yeah, I think I've had a few conversations like that as well, and there's a distinct difference. I can, relate to what you're saying. I think, but maybe about a year ago, I said to you, you're one of the calmest people I have ever met, and I think your answer to me was, it's taken 10 years of mindset work, and I think at that time I'd only really just started. Do you have any daily practices that you engage in, Rupen, to help maintain your mindset and look after your well-being?
Yeah, there's a few things. So I have a morning practice which involves meditation. Doesn't have to be long. Over the years I've polished my way of going into a meditative state, like instantly. I can close my eyes, take a few deep breaths, bang, I'm in there in a relaxed state.
Yeah.
And even if it's for 5 minutes, it's calmed my mind down. The other thing is spending time with yourself. A lot of people don't want to do that because they feel, oh, I'll be lonely. Actually, it's the best thing to do. Spending 15, 20 minutes and extending it. It could be half a day, it could be a day. You can go off on your own retreat, for a week. But I do that daily. Spend time with myself and let my thinking wander. What am I here for? What's my purpose? Just having some thoughts around that. And the thoughts are being stretched all the time. So really important. Sometimes I do that by going for a walk on my own. Some of the family sometimes want to come for a walk, and if I feel it's my time, then that's it. Then I'll just be spending that time on my own, Do not disturb me. It's my time to be with myself and let my thoughts just wander, run through. Really important. And I've done some reading on that. There's a guy called uh, Deepak Chopra who
Yes.
is quite a well-known personality. That's one of the things he actually says. And I was already doing this, and he said in his book, you need to do this. You need to spend time with yourself on your own and let your thoughts just carry on.
Yeah, it's so important. I also have a very religious morning routine, and my life is so much better for having done it. And like you said, just spending time with yourself. I journal a lot, like anything that comes to mind. If it's after I've prayed, and it's just really good. It's quite scary when you first start. I actually did a float. When you go in one of those tanks for an hour. At first,
Oh,
it was really awkward because I couldn't journal, couldn't do anything. But it's actually just good to be still and just, fully present in your mind and just working through those thoughts, those feelings that might come up. So it's been very healing, integrating that into my life as well.
yes. Yeah, it really is something everyone should be having some kind of morning routine. Really important. It sets you up for the day. And
Yes.
sometimes, like, if I've got an early morning event and I miss that routine, halfway through the day, I'm feeling it, thinking there's something missing, and that's because I haven't done my morning piece.
I'm exactly the same. If I miss it, you almost feel a bit like jarred for the day.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And
So,
Rupen, what's one or two things that you've seen business owners really struggle with?
a lot of the times it's fears, and so the fears come from, and the fear could be, will I be able to make this a success, or something comes along their way and they think, how am I going to get over it? This is going to overturn my business, um, and those kind of blockages actually go back. And I've done a lot of coaching and reading around this. Uh, Goes back to your childhood, where you've had
Yes.
certain experiences which create your operating system. Like your phone or your computer has an operating system, we have one too. And that operating system then determines when a stimulus hits your mind, then the operating system determines, gives that stimulus meaning. So if someone says X, you interpret it as Y because it's been
Yeah.
through your experiences, the things you've gone through in your life. And you think, oh, that happened before. That must be what this is again. So you're interpreting it as that. That can cause a lot of problems in business people's minds because that's how they're configured. Not understanding that whatever that configuration was from childhood might not apply to this day and age. So
Yes.
it could be that that was because you as a child were protecting yourself from whatever was going on around you. That problem's no longer there. So why am I using the same filters? So that can
Yeah.
be a big issue, which can really cause blockages for business owners in their mind. The other thing is having this kind of mindset that you have to resolve everything yourself. That because
Mm.
you're the business owner, you're the person at the top, you need to have all the answers. Actually, that's totally wrong. You need to be the person who knows who the best person is to go to and find out how to get through a certain issue or problem you're facing. So being open to that, picking the phone up, it's one of the things which double leaders is really good at. You go onto the platform, you can contact anyone, speak to the experts if you're getting stuck on something, and ask for help, whatever it is. It could be a personal issue, it could be a business issue, but asking for help is something else business owners kind of feel. Maybe they feel there's a bit of shame. I should know this. This is my business.
Yes.
Why do I need to go and ask someone else? That I feel is some of the things. The other thing is business owners getting stuck on not having a vision for their business, not seeing a bigger picture. What does this need to look like? Not today, but
Mm.
going forward 3 4 years. What does that need to look like? And creating a picture in your mind because that is what's going to drive you to get to that goal.
100%.
A lot of time because they get involved in day to day. It's just right. I'm in here operationally. I've got to do that, do that, do that. Oh, it's been a really good day because I ticked all these to-do lists off.
Yeah, my to-do list.
Well, where have you spent the time thinking strategically about your business? It's all
Yes.
operational. So actually putting aside time in the diary, in the calendar, and blocking time for that strategic thinking. So I've got time Monday morning and Friday afternoon, and it's up to me what I do, whether it's a walk on the beach or go and have a quiet cup of coffee in a coffee shop and just where there's a good view and just let my mind wander and make some notes and do that. Because it's good to shift your energy by moving into a different environment to do that kind of thinking.
Yes.
So a lot of business owners don't give themselves time to do that.
No, we always just go, go, go the entire time.
That's it. Absolutely.
And so you do that twice a week, Rupen, Monday and Friday, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, for myself, it's every Saturday. John's a cricketer, so usually on a Saturday afternoon, I'll chill in my pool on my lalo, and literally I'll either listen to a book or just be with my thoughts and write down anything inspiration that comes to mind. But again, like you said, just having that strategic thinking time, it really does work wonders. And just how you approach everyday situations in your business or with your team or in your personal life, it just really helps you function better, I think.
Yeah, totally. And there's a lot of books out there which talk about working on your business and in the business. This is just stretching that a little bit further and working on
Yes.
yourself as well, not just your business. Really important.
Yeah, because I mean, they don't teach you this stuff at art school. When I studied visual arts and graphic design, you have this passion, I'm going to be an artist or graphic designer. And then you're like, oh, I have a business. And then you work with coaches or advisors or join communities like leaders and like, oh, I can get a team and grow. And then you're like, there's this whole nother level of skill set that is required. And again, that's why the WA Leaders community is so imperative for business owners.
Yep, it's really important. So one of the things we've figured over the last 8 years, the companies which have grown and successfully gone to another level, coming into leaders, are those who are surrounded by other business owners, so peer members,
Yes.
but also surrounded by experts as well. When we have that combination, those businesses actually accelerate at a faster pace because they're learning from other business owners and people are learning from the experts as well to help them unblock where they're getting blocked up.
Yeah, and I guess you've got the best of every single world possible, and you can draw the inspiration, or if you have any questions, like you say, so you get this well-rounded view on everything.
Yeah.
So important. And Rupen, what's the bravest or scariest thing you've ever done? Talking of fears.
Yeah, so it was leaving my job in England and not knowing what I'm going to do next. It was like, right, I'm going to hand my notice in. I don't want another corporate job. But the background to that is my wife noticed this, that when we got married, every 2 or 3 years, I'd be changing jobs. And it'll be coming up to that kind of time. And she'll probably kind of nudge me and say, it must be that time you're looking to move jobs again. and there came a point in time when I was CFO at British Airways and I said, look, I've been changing job to job. Something's not quite right. I want to do something different. I don't know what it is. I just need time to jump off this corporate ship and figure something out. And that was scary because there's mortgage still going on. There's kids' private school fees still going on.
Yeah, life still costs money.
All that's going on. And I said, look, I have a belief. We'll do it. And my wife, Manisha, goes, well, I believe you. I trust in you. Go for it. So I just wrote my resignation note. Off I went. Jump ship.
Yeah.
And then the very first day out of that corporate job is like, I'm not sure what I'm doing. And I started thinking and I came up thinking, okay, I can have myself as a CFO, but not going to a corporate job, but having a number of clients. I set up on my own before we joint ventured with the CFO Centre in England and brought the concept over. So it was a kind of a revelation. And I was actually looking through a magazine, and that's when a business magazine in the UK, and that's where that inspiration came from. I could do that.
Wow.
But I had the capacity and the time. I'd given myself the space to do that thinking. And it didn't take, it came pretty quickly.
And isn't it incredible? It just takes one person that's really close to you to kind of catapult you into that next sort of phase. Don, my husband, was that person for me because I was like, I think actually COVID as well. After COVID happened, Don was like, Trace, why don't you just go into your own thing full time? And I was like, oh, actually, that's a great idea. And prayed for a sign, resigned 2 weeks later. I was like, what have I done? Because again, we're so conditioned to this little mold that we need to fit in. And yeah, just one person saying, you know what, I see you, I believe in you. And, 3.5 years later, and it's been an absolute life changer.
Yeah, it's really amazing when you kind of, sure, fears will come up, and we're human beings. They will come up now and again, but it's a matter of just thinking about it and saying, what's real? Is it a real fear, or am I just using my filters from the past to make up that fear? And if it is a real fear, because our gut feeling's pretty good, we don't want to ignore that and say, okay,
Yes.
so that is something which I need to resolve or fix or whatever. Who do I need to talk to, get some help if I can't figure it out myself?
Yeah. And I think one thing I didn't realize with my nothing will take in a personal growth journey like a business will, is that all those perceived, rose tinted glasses and the experiences that we have are from your childhood. That's something I learned and something I had to work through. And, it's you have to do the hard yards to kind of break through those barriers that you hold. But when you actually do the hard work, scary is what it is, and push to that next level, it's a game changer in terms of business and personal growth.
Yeah, it's quite it's a good feeling, isn't it? When you hit that satisfaction, you're serving a community, there's a lot more than just you making more money. It's funny, isn't it?
Yes.
The focus goes off the money when you start really building a proper business.
Completely. And I think one even starts to look different. I can't explain. It's like I like to sit and reflect every quarter and I look at photos on my phone because obviously we don't print that many photos anymore on our journal and just really, appreciate the struggles, the great times. And it's kind of like you look like a different person, as weird as what that sounds. I think because you just had this growth and you become more confident in yourself and your life purpose. Like I said, I don't know if you've experienced that, but yeah, just was very, very interested in how I look very different from how I looked in July 2020.
You really do. And the thing is, when you look at other people, you'll be seeing that change as well. Because now
Yes.
that you've been through a kind of a transformation, you will be looking at other people and watching their journeys as well, and sometimes being able to help them as well because you've been through it.
Yeah. Yes, I have started noticing that. Or someone will say something and you just kind of, connect the dots. And like you say, it's really just another way to be of service to each other. But yes, so fascinating.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one of the things, Tracy, I've kind of really been staunch about is, and this is something I knew nothing about until I landed here. And so I started a number of businesses. We had 10 going at the same time at one point, which was a big
Wow.
thing. I think the entrepreneurial animal in me kind of got unleashed and we started, what
Went
am I
wild.
doing? Yeah. And one of the businesses I was involved with was a people profiling business, like a personality profiling. And I
Okay.
learned a hell of a lot from my business partner, Kathy. And she taught me a lot about it. And in fact, she's the one who kind of said, so what do you do? I said, well, I do the CFO stuff. And so she said, let's profile you. This is before I invested in the business. And she goes, you shouldn't be doing that. I said, what do you mean? That's all I know. That's the
Yeah.
only way I know how to make money, being the CFO. And she goes, actually, you're a deal maker. That's your profile. I said, so what do deal makers do? I know I can't be doing
Yeah.
just deal. She goes, you'll be good at sales. You'll be good at connecting with people. That's what the kind of stuff you should be doing day in, day out.
Right.
You start becoming the person who brings the new business through the door for your business. And that's your profile. And then you can have CFOs doing all the CFO work with clients. And so that
Yeah.
was a game changer for me. And actually, when people join leaders, we profile them. So that's part of their orientation session. And that
Yes.
process is only 3 minutes. And it's so important that as a business owner, you stick to your profile and you devise your role, you design your role based on that profile test result. And then everything else, give it to someone else to do because there'll be someone who'll be really much better at you, much more profile aligned for them to do that work.
Yeah.
Really,
So
really
that's where their strengths are. Yes.
stick to that. Don't go and do other stuff.
Yes.
So there's me taking all these hats off. Uh,
Ah,
and the other thing which came out of running all those 10 businesses was I caught up for a coffee with a friend. We caught up at North Beach, the sun's setting, and he goes, so what are you doing these days? And I told him all these businesses, and he looked at me, he goes, like, probably thinking I'm mad. And he said, none of them will succeed. I said, what do you mean? If one goes down, one goes up, it'll all balance out. He
Yeah.
goes, it won't work. And unfortunately, that friend of mine passed away very suddenly, about a year later from that
Wow.
condition. But a year after that, for some reason, I had this thought in my head, and I realized that there's a concept called split energy. So
Yes.
what I was doing is exactly that. There was split energy. There was no focus.
Mm.
So eventually, I brought those 10 businesses down to 2. And guess what? These ones started growing.
You started growing.
And I'm getting a lot more satisfaction instead of my mind being clogged up with all these different business partners and different businesses and things weren't working, and it was stressful.
Yes. Very stressful.
So he was so right. So focus, 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 whatever you're doing. You know, this thing about multitasking doesn't work. I assure
it doesn't. No.
If you're having your dinner, then have your dinner. Don't be watching something, because that's
Yes.
If you're talking to someone, give them 100%, not be doing something else.
Yeah, be fully present.
That's the focus. That's a big thing I've learned along my journey as well, because I just went crazy. 10 businesses, who does that?
Wow. I mean, I, had Design Studio Perth and Trace Designs Bespoke, although like 90% of my business focus is Design Studio Perth. The jewelry is only by word of mouth. But yeah, just having that, because there was a time where I was trying to do both, but it's just too exhausting. I can just imagine how 10 was. But yes, focusing on just one, and also focusing on the tasks that you do. And I think as business owners, we think no one can do it better than us, but that's not true. There's someone out there who can, and our strength might be, in one area, and another person's strength on your team, might be in a different area, and that's what makes the whole machine work really, really well. But it's quite hard to let go, I think, for some business owners.
Yeah, totally. And there's like I said, there's a bit of shame as well.
Yes.
Involved, and no, I can't let go of this, or maybe they're feeling someone else does it better, then that might not look good on them. But it's only a fear. It's not real.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what do you think that is, Rupen? Do you think, again, it's conditioning from growing up, or it's just ego, or?
Yeah, it's ego can be a bit of it, but I think it's the conditioning from growing up, where if getting something wrong, making a mistake, was not tolerated when you were growing up, that can lead to that kind of behavior. You will want control. I'll do it myself, because I'm the one who knows how to do it, right? And that conditioning it's not necessary. It's not needed in your business. In fact,
no,
I don't see Richard Branson flying planes.
Yeah.
To run airlines, right?
Yes.
So it's better,
Yeah.
even if you don't fly. So that's the thing which I always say to myself. Well, he doesn't fly planes.
No.
I don't be doing this. There's other people who can do it better.
Yes. And again, it's that mindset shift. I mean, I'll get the odd client who says, "Oh, why aren't you doing everything?" And I was like, "Oh, I wish I could do, the graphic design, the copywriting, the web design, do all your marketing, do your social media. Like, I would love that, but it's just not like humanly possible." And I listened to a book recently, and they said our role as a business owner or an entrepreneur is to create jobs, for people, for society. That's part of our role in society. And I was like, I really love that, because you kind of do get stuck in, I'll just do it myself, or I can do it better, whatever the case may be. With that perspective, I thought that's so powerful, because it actually just makes you want to delegate more and empower someone else to do what they're great at.
Yeah, absolutely. And there'll be their profile. Their profile is exactly what the things you don't want to do. We'll give it to someone else. And the great thing, Tracy, these days is that we've got this gig economy where there's all these part-time solutions available, whether it's you go into Fiverr and get someone to do something for you, or you don't have to kind of think, oh, I have to employ someone full-time to do that. It's a very different world out there. There's so much of this part-time solution available now.
Yes, and outsourcing. And I mean, just even getting a cleaner is a game changer. Frees up the weekend. Business stuff aside. Yeah, and just thinking about, where you're going to spend your time. Another great thing I learned is, like, if you're going to do it yourself, what is it going to cost you at your hourly rate or your project rate, as opposed to getting someone else to do it for you, who could probably potentially do a better job than you, and it might not cost you as much, but it frees up your time, because there's only 24 hours in a day.
Totally, totally. And it also gives you time not just to do more work, but to give yourself time to do like self kind of practices you want to do. You might want to read,
Yes.
you want to learn, all those kind of things you can be doing rather than cleaning your house.
Yes. One of my favorite things to do, not well, it's a necessary evil, but yes. And
Yeah.
Rupen, any final tips or advice you'd like to share with our listeners before we jump off?
I think just reiterating, find out what your profile is, and what your passion is, and stick to that. Focus, focus, focus. Don't have split energy, because that ruins you. And have self-belief and trust that you will get the outcome you deserve and desire. That's really important.
Yes.
Self-belief, trust in yourself and your abilities.
And do you have any recommendations as far as profiling goes? Do you have anywhere that people can go should they wish to do something like that?
So we have our own leaders internal profile which we use, and so I'm happy to share that with people. If run the test, it's 3 minutes, literally 3 minutes. It gives
Wow.
you whatever you need to figure
Yes.
out what your role should be in your business.
Yeah. Fantastic. And Rupen, where's the best place for our listeners to connect with you or find out more about WA Leaders?
LinkedIn, they can connect with me on LinkedIn, or they can go to the wleaders.com.au website. My contact details are on there as well. And if they're interested in finding out more, again, there's a link for that, and then we'll send some information to them.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, Rupen, and for joining us today. I've absolutely loved our conversation.
It's been a pleasure, Tracy.
Cheers for now. Thanks, Rupen.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.